Well, I'll tell you what, real quick. That works.
Yeah, there you are.
You'll see it.
Yep.
And I mean, this is still a work in progress, but I don't know if we want to do something that's got kind of a little more of an aesthetic feel. I didn't know if we wanted to do kind of a cover page like this and then a table of contents to follow, which again, this is not complete since I know we're still editing it, but just something, an option. Let's see. Okay. All right, so you said Delta Club?
Or club, yeah.
Okay. So
Jim Gallagher 4 years ago said he would review it. I'll call him and see if he'll review it again.
okay. Let's see here. I just can y'all see my mouse too, or just the document?
We can see your
we can
cursor in your
now.
mouse.
Okay. So this right here, I just did a lowercase since it was whatnot. And a lot of these changes that you're going to see off to the side, it was just things that are highlighted for moving everything around. And then so Ian, is this, yeah, this is you if you want to.
Yeah, I didn't connect that statement with repeater stations. I was thinking like a station that someone would go sit at to operate.
Yeah.
I knew we maintained the repeaters, but I don't know why it just didn't click in that sense for me whenever I read that.
Well, anytime we use W4BS, that is considered a club station.
Okay.
Even if it's remotely, if we go out someplace and we're using W4BS, that is a club station. Club
I thought
operated
this was
station.
the equipment, ham radio equipment. I took it as ham radio equipment.
Well,
I mean,
I'm not responsible for the equipment so much as I am the license,
Right.
the way I understand it anyway. And basically means I police it and I'm in charge of operating it, keeping it up and running. So that's the way I've always read it.
Well,
Any
you can
thoughts?
always put maintain licensed amateur radio stations if applicable.
Well, a repeater is a station.
Well, but I took it as ham radio. There's a lot of clubs that have ham radio equipment.
I understand,
And-
but this covers all of it,
Okay.
doesn't it?
I would think so. Look at W1AW. It's kind of the same deal.
Yeah, they're running all under one license.
all right. Would y'all rather, do we need to read line by line, or would you, we can go, another option is that we could just kind of hit bullet points of each paragraph and let everybody kind of read on their own. What would you prefer?
And just read it.
Okay. All right. Article 1 name, section, Article 1, Section 1, Subsection 1. The name of this organization shall be the Delta Amateur Radio Club Incorporated, hereinafter referred to in these bylaws as Delta Amateur Radio Club, Dark, Delta Club, or Club. Sound good?
Okay.
Okay. Article 2, organization. 2.1, purpose. Delta Amateur Radio Club is incorporated as a nonprofit organization in accordance with the laws of the state of Tennessee for the purpose of promoting the advancement of amateur radio service through the use of amateur radio in emergency situations in which normal lines of communication are disrupted or otherwise not feasible. To prepare to be of assistance in emergency situations, the DARC will participate in the following activities.
Why is amateur radio service capitalized?
I have no idea. We can, is it supposed to be lowercase?
I would say it's lowercase. Otherwise, we have, basically, when you have it in uppercase, you have to define it. And what are you talking? You're just talking about amateur radio, right?
Okay.
I would think so.
Or the advancement of amateur radio. I think leave service out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, for the purpose.
Then we've got amateur radio twice in one sentence, so. Through its use, maybe.
Okay.
The advancement of amateur radio.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I'm a little, I mean, I hate to start, but amateur radio, then taking service out, you're kind of left hanging. Amateur radio, would we want to say technology or something? I mean, if everybody else was okay with it, to me, since there was something there and then we took it out, I'm kind of left feeling like I'm hanging.
Purpose of promoting the advancement.
The amateur radio hobby. It's not really a service.
Not, yeah.
Amateur radio sounds good to me.
Communications.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of like amateur radio, just amateur radio.
Okay, if y'all are okay with it.
Yeah, I do. I do.
Purpose of promoting the advancement through its use in emergency situations.
That's why we let a lawyer look at it.
It's true. Let's see. All right, any other, and we can always make another pass later to, as a, like after we kind of get rid of a lot of the excess stuff. But all right, so are we good with that paragraph?
Yep.
Okay. 2.1.1, encourage continued education and training for prospective and current amateur radio operators by providing opportunities for both academic and hands-on training.
Yep.
Sounds good.
All right. Encourage research and experimentation with new and existing technologies in an effort to facilitate the advancement of the field of radio communications and the support of any literary or scientific undertaking promoting the advancement of the radio art.
Yep.
That's fine.
Right. Promote amateur radio by providing opportunities for fellowship among members and other interested persons for educational, civic, social, and recreational purposes.
Yep.
No problem.
Promote public awareness of amateur radio and its many contributions to public welfare.
No problem.
Maintain licensed amateur radio stations for operation by its membership in the name of its trustees when.
One single. We don't have multiple trustees.
Yeah. Well, and so
Well,
I
they
know,
also refer to it as the board of trustees, as opposed to just being the board of directors later.
Well, that's coming up because there's a thing in there about trustees, and we don't have trustees.
yeah, because I know because there's a whole
trustee
section.
of a license, and that's it. So
Do we? Well, is that something where we want to? I mean, because this is the time, if we're gonna make any changes, since we're gonna go through the whole formal process of,
the S out and leave it that
Okay.
way, because that's the way it should be read. We're gonna have to change it later on in other stuff when it's pertaining to somebody other than
Then the trustee.
4BS trustee.
Yeah.
okay, yep, sounds good. I got you. All right. Maintain licensed amateur radio stations for operation by its membership in the name of its trustee, when and where appropriate, under the rules of the Federal Communications Commission of the United States of America, hereinafter referred to as the FCC.
Yep.
Exercise any and all general powers, whether herein enumerated or not, which a nonprofit corporation may or can exercise under the Constitution and laws of the state of Tennessee that are not inconsistent with the purpose herein contained.
Good.
Affiliation. DARC is an affiliate of the American Radio Relay League, or ARRL.
And I think when you do that, I don't know, the attorney might be putting it in quotation marks rather than parentheses,
Okay,
because that's, the quotation marks is the alias for what it's being named.
Well, the other wording prior has been to, what was the, like hereinafter
Herein
referred
referred
to
to.
as,
Well, but it's a lot easier to just do it in parentheses after the name,
yeah.
or do it in quotation marks rather.
Let's see. Well, is that something we need to go on and change?
Let's go ahead and put it in quotation marks.
All right, do we need to do or
Take the parentheses
ARL
out and-
or? Should we have like or in front of it?
No,
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 okay,
no, it's,
all
the
right.
quotation marks is saying that it's an alias of what you just said.
All right. 2.3, nonprofit corporation. The Delta Amateur Radio Club is a nonprofit corporation and shall not have or issue shares of stock. No dividend will be paid, and no part of the income of the corporation will be distributed to its members, trustees, or officers.
Well, that's it. I quit. I'm just kidding. That's
Alright.
good.
Yeah, but we got a hell of a 401k, man.
That's right.
All right.
After 15 years, we got a hell of a retirement plan.
so trustees there is still plural.
Huh?
Does that need changed to match?
I
Or
would
should that
keep
say
that one.
members, board, or
Eliminate
officer?
trustees.
Well, yeah, because trustee would be under the officer position if it's just the one.
Yeah,
So there's no
eliminate the name word trustees.
member or. Members. Okay.
And the thing that I have is, what is the definition of officers versus board of directors? We need to think about that.
I tried to, that is a section that I made a few changes on, and I mean, if we need to bounce around and do anything else, we can. But I did try to make a few changes, and I was going to point that out to you guys if that was done correctly in regards to officers being like the core that are elected versus the board that would serve as appointed as well.
Well, or would we say members?
Or do it
Would
just needs
would
to
it be
say
better to say or officials not appointed or elected?
Yeah. So like members, comma, appointed or elected.
let's see, distributed to its members or
Or does it need to, because we're all technically members, so do we need to clarify past members?
that's a good point.
That is.
What section are you looking at?
Well,
2.3.
we're still the same thing. Is it sufficient just to say members? Why make the distinction? Because you've got to be a member to be an officer.
Mm-hmm. Well, if y'all don't have any objection, I think let's leave it shortened.
How does that pertain to prizes, et cetera, et cetera? No, we have door prizes, and I would think they come out of our income.
Well, but would that be considered shares of stock or loans?
Well, it says, and no part of the
No
income
part of the income.
corporation will be distributed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I see what you're saying. I don't know.
maybe you want to qualify that.
Good.
Well, but that then, I guess to be a nonprofit, maybe you do have to say that. But aren't gifts kind of exempt? I mean, can a nonprofit give out gifts? So we could itemize that. Or maybe it's just understood. I guess a legal mind would know. But
We can leave it this way and see what the attorney has to say.
okay.
Or make a note, does this exclude door prizes?
Yeah. Before we because I thought of it both ways. You can open up a heck of a can of worms, leaving it out somewhere down the road. Somebody's gonna. I don't know why nobody's ever thought of that before, but if we leave it out, somebody sometime is gonna say, if we had a big prize, oh wow, nobody can get it.
Yeah.
Well, as long as nobody is lining their pockets, one, I don't think anybody's going to make a big problem out of it unless they're just looking to cause an issue. But two, that's part of why most of the big things, like, I don't know that I've seen a board member win a large prize or an expensive prize so far.
But it could be any member.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be any member. But yeah, that's true. I just had a question. That's all.
No, that was
It's a good question.
Yeah, it's, as many times as we've been over this in the past, that's never come up. That's a good question.
All right. Well, for now, with the exception of looking into the legality of the income part, does this 2.3.1 look okay as written?
Yeah.
I'd
I
say,
think
yeah.
so.
Okay. And then since we made going off those the Delta Amateur
Can you
Radio
put a
Club.
note out to the side, check with attorney?
Yeah. Let's see.
Up under review, there should be an add comment button.
I'm going to go in and as we go through, accept the changes as we do accept them. That way it kind of cuts out.
Yeah.
Mm.
Can you select them on the, yeah. I don't know if you can select more than one. You may have to click and then shift click down further to see if maybe it'll let you get to multiples of them that way. I've not done that on a Mac before, so.
I'll just do- I'll tell you what, I'll come back to that top page and I'll just do these for now.
It's catching up to you, Mary Jean. He keeps moving them up.
Yeah. Y'all, so part of the reason why I was sending it so late is it quit on me twice today. I had made so
no.
many changes.
Oh,
I mean, and I already started on it, but trying to finish everything today. Oh goodness. In fact, I'm gonna go save it now.
There's an auto save slider up there on the left, top left.
Yeah.
You almost had it.
Right beside the green button.
It
Yeah.
was behind my
Oh, behind your Zoom window. Oh, it requires the.
okay. Well, I'm not gonna worry.
Yeah, it requires OneDrive.
All right. Okay, well, I'm not gonna go and do all these. They're gonna take a while, but okay, so this all right, 2.3.2. Loans to trustees, officers, or members. The Delta Amateur Radio Club shall make no loans to any of its members, trustees, or officers.
We occasionally loan equipment.
Would y'all have any objection to make that just members like the other?
I'm fine with that, but we do occasionally loan equipment. So do we need to cite something like monetary loans? Do we need to be more specific? Or are we not worried about that?
I'd say monetary. No.
It's what, MONATARY?
E, E, T,
E,
E,
MONE.
MONE.
All right. Shall make no monetary loans to any of its members. And then would y'all be okay if we shorten this to loans to members?
Yeah,
Since we, all right. All right, look okay?
Yep.
Okay. All right. 2.3.3 rights and interest in assets. No member, trustee, or officer shall have any vested right, interest, or privilege in or to the assets, functions, or affairs of the dark, or any right, interest, or privilege which may be transferable or inheritable, or which will continue if their membership ceases. Same as earlier. Do y'all have any objection to deleting this part?
That's fine.
No member.
Do we need the last part of that? If you can't have any of those, does it make sense to have to state that they can't be transferable or inheritable, or if your membership ceases?
That may be one of those things that has to, kind of like the non-discrimination clause that you have to have in there,
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
but I don't
Might
know.
be a legal thing. Yeah.
Right. Well, look okay?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Authority to indemnify. The DARC does not indemnify any directors, officers, incorporators, and employees of the DARC from any liability regarding the DARC and the affairs of the DARC unless the person fraudulently and intentionally violated the law and or maliciously conducted acts to damage and or defraud the DARC or as otherwise provided under applicable statute.
works for me.
Yeah.
That sounds like something probably
That's,
been
that's
in there, and unless
legal.
somebody
Yeah.
knows of something we need to change, that one's
yeah.
more than anything else, that's a legal paragraph right
Yeah,
there.
sure.
Yeah,
is.
that's so that we don't have any personal liability for anything that happens due to the club directly.
Okay. All right. Wait, DS.
You need an L. Mhm.
All right. Dissolution procedure. Upon dissolution of the Delta Amateur Radio Club Incorporated, hereinafter referred, well, do we need,
No.
No.
all right. Upon dissolution of the Delta Amateur Radio Club Incorporated or the forfeiture of the DARC's Articles of Incorporation, the Board of Directors shall have the power to dispose of the assets of the DARC after paying or making provisions for payment of all liabilities of the DARC. The board shall distribute or dispose of the assets of the DARC by transferring or conveying such assets or the proceeds of the sale to another corporation or organization which is organized and operated exclusively for charitable, educational, or scientific purposes. In the event the board fails to or is unable to distribute such assets in accordance with the provisions of this article, any DARC member may petition a court of appropriate jurisdiction to assume jurisdiction over the assets and accomplish a distribution in accordance with the intent and purpose of this section.
Sounds very legal.
I don't think so. Do y'all think it's okay to leave that the full, since it is about
Yeah,
pollution, you think it's
Yeah.
okay to leave it?
yeah.
I would say that.
The only thing is it spelled out incorporated or is it INC?
Mm. I mean, everything else up to, well, yeah, up top it's,
What does the IRS show?
that I don't know.
So that's a Jim question.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's what I was doing earlier.
But then again, the IRS might have abbreviated it just for shortness.
Yeah, they don't give you much room on their forms, that's for sure. Their online forms anyway.
Okay. Okay, so would y'all say that we are good with this, but then check on whether we need to spell out incorporated or use the shortened?
Right.
All right.
And I messaged James Martin, and he basically said his doctor has him on some pain medicine that has rendered him not of much use in discussions like this.
Okay.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Actually, David Jackson might be able to answer it just as easily or more so.
Well, that's all right. I mean, we can, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, if we're good there, Article 3, membership, 3.1 membership application. Membership in the DARC is open to all licensed radio amateurs and to any other individuals with an interest in amateur radio without regard to race, creed, color, sex, sex orientation, national origin, religion, disabilities, or any other grounds prohibited by state and or federal law. which, and I thought about this later, religion, creed is a reference to religion, correct? Or is that,
Do not know.
It could also mean political slants and beliefs as opposed
mean,
to religion.
I
All
got
of
a
those
question.
things
But-
are
Is
covered
membership in
under.
DARC is open to all licensed amateur radio
operators?
or licensees, I would say, because radio amateurs could mean shortwave listening and other people, I think.
All right, so all amateur radio licensees.
Uh,
All
Well,
holders
all
of an
licensed
amateur radio
well,
license.
amateur radio operators.
Well, or would we want to say, you know, somebody holding a valid amateur license?
Ooh, yeah, yeah.
Does it need?
Well,
does it
and
need to
we
be
allow
valid? Does it need to be
membership-
valid, and does it need to be current? It wouldn't necessarily have. I don't know that I want to add in there current, but if it's not current, then it's not valid.
But and we do have the out with any other individuals with an interest in amateur radio. So
Yeah, we have members that don't have their license yet.
Right.
Yeah, which again, we do have this to any other individuals with an interest.
Oh, okay.
So-
Okay, right. So-
Yeah, I
but
think
all
that leaves it pretty open.
All right, so licensed amateur radio operators. So does that work?
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah. All right, we good there?
I'm good with it. 'Cause anything we would have forgotten would be covered by that last clause there.
Yeah. All right. All right, 3.1.2. Any person wishing to join the DARC may apply for membership by submitting a completed membership application along with any necessary dues to the secretary or treasurer, or by mailing their completed application and dues to the DARC mailing address. Sound good?
Yes.
Do we need to say something? It's membership is contingent on approval by board of directors?
You know, that's a good, I don't think, I remember reading that in this. So I don't think when they, because this was actually done a few months before I even got licensed. But
Yeah.
they may have not included it in this if it's, so I mean, do we want to, if since that's something we've been doing?
It needs to be included that it's not automatic.
Yeah. Well, it does say you can apply. And so you can apply for membership. It doesn't mean you automatically get it.
Let me look at the old bylaws real quick and see the way that was worded.
Yeah, because I don't remember in this one seeing that the board has to vote. Because even if there's an application, I think the old ones reference that a vote would be had at the next available
Yeah, there
board
is.
meeting.
In the previous draft, it had something in there about,
Yeah, because I got a question about that too. You know, when I mailed in my my application and I haven't heard back yet, and I had to explain the procedure that we vote on it at the next board meeting. So.
All right, well, I'm going to copy over. I mean, we can delete or change this, but what I'm going to do, just so we have somewhere to start, I'm going to copy over this paragraph from the old, which I'll have to remember if we do. But, okay. Let's see. All right. All right, so this is what, and there's additional, but it goes into more about like expelling members, which we've got information later on. So, but this is essentially what it says, which we could really probably delete this part since we've
Yeah.
already said that.
I agree.
So, I mean, do we just want to keep that in and?
What,
Well, what are the applicants?
313?
All applicants?
Yes, I think, because majority of the earliest. All right, so, well,
Can we say, instead of saying prospective members, could we say applicants?
yeah, I mean, all applicants must be approved by a majority of the board of directors at the earliest board meeting following the application for membership.
Well, all applicants or all prospective members' applications?
That's a good point.
That is true, yeah.
I mean, that
All perspective. Yeah.
All
right.
All prospective member applications? No possible.
members or membership application?
Mm,
Oh, now we're splitting hairs.
Yeah, yeah, membership sounds good.
all,
All prospective membership applications, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
all right. All prospective membership applications must be approved by a majority of the board of directors at the earliest board meeting following the application for membership. So, or,
Well, like in expulsion, do they have any recourse? If they weren't approved, do they get to find out why, and do they get to contest that?
now's the time to clarify it. I mean, so scrolling down here to expulsion, so we could
Expulsion is, if they're applying, they're not a member, so they can't be expelled.
No, I understand that. But
Mary Jean was going down to that other paragraph.
yeah,
well, I was just looking at the wording, 'cause
Yeah.
depending on the wording down here, we could say see section blah, blah, but that, I don't know that we probably have to.
That's what I'm saying. Expulsion of a member is not
Yeah,
the same as not accepting a membership application.
Yeah.
It's two different things. So
okay.
you can't reference that expulsion paragraph.
All right, well, appeal or, well, how do we want to clarify this? Then that's a good point.
they just might.
Denial of membership by the board of directors may be appealed.
That's good.
Within 90 days or something like that.
What's the appeal process? Who do they appeal to?
To the board of
Because-
directors.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, what if at some point in the future the board of directors was a little slanted with something, and this person then wanted to go to the entire membership to plead their case? Would they have that option?
We've been there down that road.
Oh, have you?
No,
Okay.
I don't want to open up that can of worms.
Okay.
We've been down that road and the board of directors took care of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't.
All right.
I don't-
Okay.
Yeah, Yeah,
Okay,
we're a republic, not a democracy.
good, good. And this is our constitution, so, okay.
I mean, and the members, I mean, everybody, I mean, they'll have to still vote on this document. So like, you know, this is still going to go by other people, but of course we're hashing out the details. So,
I would just, I mean, they just might want to know a reason why it was denied.
Yeah.
We can word it some.
Yeah, I think that is a good remedy, is that, you know, the reason for denial will be communicated to the applicant or something like that.
Yeah, that's probably good.
I think that's fair.
Yeah,
And Carolyn, I see your point, but I mean, that does just open up a heck of a can.
oh, I know, no, I know. Yeah.
If the other members don't approve of what we did, then there's recourse against us.
That's true. That's true. No, but I just was concerned that we would communicate to them the reason why
Oh, yeah,
it was rejected. So,
Have we ever denied membership to anyone?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
oh,
yes.
okay. Did they find out why?
Oh, they knew why.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we can get into that. You know, I don't want to take. Yes, we did. We had somebody that he was actually, and Joe knows a lot more about it, but just in a nutshell, it was actually even somebody that years ago had been president of the club and wanted to come back in after what, 10 years
15.
or more, huh?
Was it 10 or 15
Yeah,
years?
10 or 15 years, wanted to come back, but there was some.
He had been chairman of a ham fest that Delta Club had financial involvement in. That ham fest organization did not continue on, and he kept the money. We started trying to get the money for 2.5 years, and it was another 2.5 years before he rendered the money to the clubs.
So he just had a bad character. So for
Yeah,
bad character issues.
Right, and actually the bottom line for refusing somebody to be a member is it blocks them more than anything else. It blocks them from being an officer.
Oh, okay.
That's
Okay.
the one thing to keep in mind. You can't be an officer if you're not a member.
Yep. Got it.
So this person was told that he couldn't be a member, but he was welcome to come to the meetings.
That's a good remedy.
And that wasn't good enough, you know, for him.
Okay. Well, all right. Good enough.
And then when he was asked a direct question by the president, he avoided it without giving any direct answers.
Yeah, and part of it was he and some of his friends that were members. It actually became a little bit of a game and a power struggle, and we weren't gonna get
Oh, no, I'm sure. That's disgusting.
So have we covered that bullet point?
Yeah, I'm happy with
All
that.
right. So are we okay with this wording then? Adding in all prospective membership applications must be approved by a majority of the board of directors at the earliest board meeting following the application for membership. Should a membership application be denied, the board of directors must notify the applicant of the denial as well as the reason for the denial within 7 days.
I'd say 14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I would
30 days.
rather go
Within 30 days.
30.
30?
Yeah,
Yeah,
30.
yes.
because
Yeah.
what if the application doesn't
Yeah.
really have a good address on it or
That's true.
Yeah, yeah.
email address and it's-
So do we?
must make every attempt, I would say.
That's a good point too. Yes.
Well, if we don't have contact information, they wouldn't know if it was accepted either, because we wouldn't be able to
Well, hopefully the
include them on
contact
anything.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that could be a reason for denial.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. but-
What do we want to say that we're going to we're gonna do this via email or via phone? I
Mhm.
mean, do we want to stipulate the method of contact here?
I
I,
don't think
I
so.
would
No,
just
I
leave it
don't-
open, but I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know. You could,
I-
if anything, say in writing, but I would think just notify them would be fine.
Yeah, I
'Cause
think
I
so.
wouldn't expect we'd really do that. I mean, it's not a frequent thing, so.
Yeah.
But
So
it's,
how are we going to record that we made the attempt within 30 days?
That's the secretary's job, I would think.
Yeah. it'd be where they just document it and, or
And it'd be in the
Well, in the
secretary's finder.
Steve, it was
something.
more than 30 days when, after the application came in, that it really got denied. Because wasn't it in the end of November it came in, and it was January when it was denied?
Well, it was, we
Within,
covered it after the board meeting that I had processed it. So like, I mean, it had come in, but before I got to process it, I paused. And so following me personally getting it to process it as secretary, it was the following board meeting, and then it was denied at that board meeting. The notification was made.
so
and
with,
then,
So we need
it
to
was
say within
appealed,
30
and then it
days.
got brought
Of
up
the-
at the following meeting.
So we need to say something like within 30 days of the decision.
yeah,
Or the
Or
board
something.
meeting
The
or
board
something
meeting,
like that? Yeah,
yeah.
I think that's a good idea, Ian.
yeah.
All right, Carolyn was getting there.
Doesn't matter, whomever, just get it done.
Board meeting
Well, within 30 days of the decision,
of this.
of the denial.
Yeah, of the denial, within 30 days of the denial.
Yeah, because you've already mentioned you have to vote within the next one, so that would make sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if we receive it the day after a board meeting, we would have around 60 days
Right, right.
Yeah.
at a
Potentially, yeah,
maximum
if that's, yeah.
from when they, yeah.
But they're still approved to attend meetings per our previous, who's invited to attend meetings, though, right?
Right, right. I mean,
And
we might want to,
Well-
On that front, I don't know that we could bar somebody from meetings in a space that we don't technically have control of.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Hopefully we never have to figure that out,
Right.
but
No, I mean, if they're disturbing the peace or anything, then that's a police issue, so.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think we want to go down that road, but I did want to mention, the reason why we mainly have this about the membership is it leads into the officers.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense.
All right. Well, does this work for us for now? I mean, because we can always think on it and then come back to it. So in that case, are we okay with this sentence or this paragraph for now?
Yeah.
yes.
say yes.
Yeah.
All right. I had a timer set here. I'm just, as a reminder, we're at an hour. If y'all want to keep in kind of at a stopping point before we get into this other stuff.
Well, if would y'all, okay, so here we are right here. What would y'all think about trying to, because I think the rest of this is kind of simple and straightforward, making it through the membership part and then stopping.
That's why I was just pointing out, if somebody, if y'all, I can keep going. If anybody needs to go, if we've got several that want to go, I don't want to keep y'all from anything else you might have to do. But yeah, if y'all are good, let's keep going.
I'm good if y'all are.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Members in the dark shall hold membership based on only one of the available membership classifications as defined in paragraph 3.2. And I'm actually going to change that to section. Well, no.
It went back to paragraph.
Say again.
It went back to paragraph.
Yeah, well, I guess I'll add, I mean, should we change it to section or leave it as paragraph?
But if we started,
Well,
isn't
isn't
that a
that,
convention set yet?
well, that's Article 3, Section 2.
We could say, yeah, okay, yeah. I like that better. All right. Membership classifications. DARC offers the following classifications of
Why would
membership.
you use Roman numeral 3 when it's
Well,
3.2
every
number?
Because
articles have got Roman numerals.
332.
Um,
Article 3, Section 3.2.
Well, but this would be the classifications here. Because then it goes into each.
It goes into each one, and it's saying you can only be in one of those multiple membership classifications.
Correct.
So it'd be Article 3, Section 3.2.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. I got the
Yeah.
2 instead of 3. Okay. All right. Wait, no, that was, oh, well, that would be, because see, Article 3, so this would be 3, and then
That's right,
Section
yeah.
2.
She's right, yeah.
No, that, the way that you're talking about it, since you've got the Roman numerals, that's gonna mean that you started everything over from the top. So if
If you start from Article 3, then you got to go down to 3.2.
right,
Well,
because then you,
And 3.2 is all encompassing of the member classifications.
So you need to add a 3 before the
Yeah.
2.
3.2.
Like that.
Yep.
Okay.
mm,
Uh,
that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it does.
Well, I mean, so something else, I can, if it helps, since we're not gonna probably finish this all tonight, I could go and, I mean, this was kind of bothering me anyway. I could go through and like say, you know, spell out, because I think that's what we did back in SGA, but like type up. So like Section 2 or something.
Yeah.
I mean, so I could
I
go
would just
through.
leave it 3.1, 3.2, you know, that's understood that it's Section 3.2. I would just say defined in 3.2
So
or
like get
Section
rid of
3.2.
Well, hold up, it's-
And if a lawyer has a problem with it, he'll make comment.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. DARC offers the following classifications of membership: individual annual membership, anyone holding a valid amateur radio operator's license that is issued by the FCC.
Actually, by the FCC or a reciprocal license.
Yeah, yeah. If we had an international person,
We've had an international
Okay.
person, a guy that worked for
Anyone holding valid amateur radio
uh,
Should we say instead of that is issued by the FCC, that is recognized by the FCC? Because a reciprocal would be recognized by the FCC.
well,
as a,
issued by the FCC,
What
issued or recognized by
Yeah, I
the,
was gonna say issued or recognized.
that's a good one. That's good. I like that.
I do too. That's
Like that. And yeah, I mean, yeah, with FedEx and everything else, yeah, it's actually kind of surprising we haven't had somebody else.
well, we had somebody, I'm trying to think, what's the hotel chain that's at Spotswood and between Perkins and in Colonial.
Is that Hilton?
Is that the Hilton? Anyway, he worked, there was a guy here that worked for the Hilton and had he was from Europe someplace. He did finally get a US license, but he operated and was in the, and I think he was in the club.
Yeah.
All right, so we're good there.
Yeah.
All right. Family annual membership. Anyone meeting the conditions of individual annual membership or non-licensed annual membership and who shall also reside at the same address as an existing individual annual member in good standing of the DARC. At least one member of the household shall be an individual annual member of the DARC in order for any other member of the same household to apply for family annual membership. Licensed family members shall have the same status as individual annual members, and unlicensed family members shall have the same status as non-licensed annual members. Are y'all okay if we delete shall? So it's who also reside or who reside at the same address? Or does it sound better with who shall reside?
Yeah, I guess shall is the emphasis that they have to live there.
Yeah, it's
Would
it's
it be
kind of
those
a
two?
it's kind of a legalese thing. And who?
And if you take out shall, you need to probably add an S at the end of resides.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah.
Anyone meeting the conditions?
Now, while I'm thinking about it, would we want, if since that definition refers to the non-member, do we want to put the non-member before it?
Yeah, I think you may be right.
Have individual, then have non-licensed, and then the family, which references,
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Good point. All right. All right, anyone meeting the conditions?
We want the emphasis on it. Do we want to say and must reside at the same address?
Anyone who resides.
Shall is the same way, but a little bit softer.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, would it be better just to add in the shall?
yeah,
Go back to it.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So it was anyone meeting the conditions.
There's who shall.
well, and now I'm thinking about it, Joe, you can have family members of a life member, right?
Yeah.
Well, we're not, is that, am I overlooking that because it just says annual member? Do we need to say annual or life member? And if we're going to do that, do we want to move annual or life up?
So maybe delete. And so just say individual membership or non-licensed or no. So delete the annual part.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. If we reduce,
Well,
that way we
you need
don't-
annual versus life, I think, or not. I mean, let's see. The way they have it, this old way, it was family annual membership, then non-licensed individual annual membership, then individual life member, family life member, non-licensed life member, and honorary life member. thought that followed, you know,
Well, yeah, this would, I guess that, yeah, you're right. That would cover maybe, well, okay. Anyone meeting the conditions of individual membership or non-licensed individual membership. Membership.
We might want to lay it, we might want to specify life. I mean, because
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right. Well, would it help if we came back up here and knocked out non-licensed individual annual member real quick?
no, that, I mean, that is,
well, I think she's just saying, do we want to be sure that we have that definition wrapped up since it's included
Oh.
in the
Yeah.
family?
Non-licensed members may not vote. Licensed officers serve on the executive board. Well, I'm going to suggest that we go from executive board to board of directors. All right, are we okay with this paragraph? Non-licensed individual annual member. Non-licensed membership is available to anyone interested in amateur radio communications and who does not hold a valid amateur radio license issued by the FCC. Issued or recognized by?
Yeah.
Non-licensed members may not vote, hold an elected office, or serve on the board of directors, which would it be appropriate just to say may not vote or serve on the board of directors, since those are our elected officers?
I don't think you need recognized by the FCC because
We said it earlier.
the person, a foreign person coming in is a foreign person and they don't have a license. So why would it be recognized by the FCC? I mean, if we want to clarify something as to or recognized, you might put in parentheses, reciprocal operating permit. Or reciprocal operating, yeah, permit to clarify the.
Or what if, would it help to cut out wordiness if we said who does not hold a license,
Valid radio license.
as mentioned in 3.2.1,
Yeah.
and then clarify that whatever in.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Hold a. All right. Non-licensed membership is available to any membership.
I think we can take out however in the last sentence.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I agree. Non-licensed membership may not vote.
Yeah.
Well, okay, and I guess to cut out on words, since instead of deleting this part, hold an elected office, should we just delete or serve on the board of directors. So where it would say non-licensed members may not vote or hold an elected office.
We don't want, no, we don't want them voting.
She's
Correct.
talking about just take out the very last bit, just
Yeah,
removing
well, I
or
was
serve
trying
on the
to
board
see
of
if we could-
directors.
Oh,
Well, but some
Well-
board members are appointed.
Yeah, I was just gonna say some are appointed.
So take out the middle one. May not vote or serve
'Cause
on
we-
the board of directors.
There are no elected positions outside of the board that y'all can think of, correct? I mean, I don't
no.
know of any, but
There's an appointed position, PIO, that can be, is appointed by the president.
and that would be there on the board, so, okay.
Well, but that's not a non-voting, that's a non-voting position, right, Steve?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, will this cover any future scenarios? What if there are more positions opened in the future?
Well, I would guess that's where whoever, if there are positions added, they should go through and update the
And
entire
change
bylaws.
The bylaw.
Oh, okay.
I would
That's
think.
what I was thinking. I
Okay,
was thinking through, I was on the same train of thought, Carolyn. I was thinking,
Uh-huh.
let's put it in there now so it's in there later, but it may be better not to put it in.
yep, okay, I gotcha.
Because that does open up that makes it easier to open up the door of elected offices that aren't on the directors for some reason.
All right, since we made a few changes, I'll reread it. 3.2.2, non-licensed individual annual member. Non-licensed membership is available to anyone interested in amateur radio communications and who does not hold a valid amateur radio license as specified in section 3.2.1. Non-licensed members may not vote or serve on the board of directors. Non-licensed members may serve on committees.
That's good.
Now, here's a thought. Do we need to say something about if somebody is a non-licensed and becomes licensed?
It changes the,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was gonna say
Licensed membership.
that's under. I was just bringing that up.
Are you saying like, so if they applied for membership, well, we could clarify, I mean, we could add another sentence on really anywhere and say, or we could add even another section down here to say like if
If their license status changed, then their membership status changes. There or something along the lines of their if license status changes, then their membership status changes.
what about
I
in
don't
the
think, I
event
don't
that,
think we really need to,
I'm
Is
just
no
thinking-
longer
Yeah,
a
'cause-
non-licensed member if he gets
It-
licensed.
I mean, technically, it could actually go both ways.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
It could go yeah,
If somebody has a license and it expires, then you know, do they hold claim to the fact that they were licensed or not? I mean, I'm just,
Well, I would say because there's no wording that the board or anybody has to validate changes to somebody's license. The way that it reads is it's your membership is based on if you're licensed and you're a member, then you're an individual annual membership, unless you fall under some categories that aren't available anymore. But then if your license expires, then you just move, your membership just changes. But we don't, unless we're gonna validate everybody's license, there's no way for us to track that.
Well, do
Well-
we want to put that responsibility on them to submit to change from non-licensed to individual?
Well, do we track membership classification?
no.
in individual versus non-licensed? Okay.
So what we track, so we don't track that per se, but like when an application gets submitted and they do not have a call sign, I mean, the secretary will have it in the membership roster that there's
Yeah.
no call sign listed. So it kind of goes without statement that without a call sign, then they would not be the individual annual membership. But like, But other than that, the only thing that gets tracked between the main memberships and the other would be whether they're a life member or not. So Indian Holding Valid Amateur Radio. I mean, we could add a sentence onto each one that says should
I don't think we need it.
leave it.
I was just bringing it up, because it's not addressed that what happens if a status changes, and it can change.
Especially if we don't track
If the
it.
membership lapses, they're not a member.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
It's not a non-licensed individual membership. They're not a member.
Oh, we're talking about, I think, during the year. So it's,
During the year.
they become a member in January, and then they get somebody gets their tech license in June, or become a member, or they're a life member, and then their license lapses. So what to do in those situations? Because their status as a member, according to these rules, would change.
Yeah.
Mm.
But if you meet the category, you're in that category.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, but I think, it's something
that's
we can
true.
think about, but
That's
I
true.
think we need to put in, at the end of it, I think we need to put in, your membership status can change as your license status changes. But that's, that's not a, it's not a deal breaker, but I'm just wondering if that's something we need to think about.
I mean, we could add a notation at the bottom
Yeah, that's what I was
of
thinking.
3.2. Yeah.
Yeah, at the very
Well,
bottom.
at the end, just
'Cause we-
summarize it at the end that, hey,
Yeah.
here are the different ones, but it can change if your license status changes.
Change of status.
Change of status is effective on your license status,
Can you just say the status of your membership is based on your license status? If you're already a member?
I think it's, from what I'm wanting to clarify, I think it's clearer to say that your status changes as your license status change. Your
Yeah.
membership status changes concurrent with your license status. Is what, that's what I'm trying. And don't y'all understand? That's what I'm trying to kind of say.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it could go either way, but actually more than likely it's to be that somebody's license would expire.
Yeah, yeah.
But it could be that somebody gets in and they're trying to get their license and fail, but like to be a member. And
Oh yeah, I mean, it
Whatever
could
it
go
is, and
either way.
once
It
they
could
get
go
their
either way,
license-
but
once they
more,
get
how many
their
times,
license-
I'm just, we have very few non-licensed members, right? But every
Well,
one of the members,
that have paid their dues before they got their license when it was taken
right,
3 weeks.
right. But
so
I
to
mean, but
get
that's,
licensed.
I mean, you know better, we got, new members that don't have a license. That's what, 10 a year, but every one of our members has the risk of their license expiring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Hey, Mary Jean,
yeah.
what about something like a member's classification changes automatically based on the validity of their operating license or amateur radio license? What do y'all think of something like that? Trying to keep it simple, because overcomplicating it could be worse
Yeah,
than not
yeah.
saying it at all.
Yeah.
Ian, I think that's a good statement.
Yeah, it is.
Because I really wasn't thinking about going from a license to unlicensed due to that. So that is good, because you always think about going from unlicensed to licensed. So that, I think that would be a good statement to include. License status
I was
or
gonna say, yeah, status.
By the validity of the amateur radio operator's license status.
Mm.
And it may change over the course of the year, of the current membership year.
Ian, are you saying that validity and status are the same?
Make sure.
I think it's a little redundant, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, that's coming together.
Okay, yeah, let's see, membership classification.
Because if we just say it's determined by the validity of the amateur radio operator's license, it could be interpreted
Say validity,
as meaning at the time that they applied. Or were
well,
accepted.
validity to me makes it sound more like, is it a valid? Well, I don't know.
Or, I mean, we could say by the status of the amateur radio operator's
I like
operator's
status and
license.
validity.
Yes, yes.
Um, let me change. All right. The membership classifications.
Yeah, I like that. Dang.
All right.
Or maybe subject to change during the course of the membership.
And
Are we going to say it's automatic, or are they going to have to submit an application?
well, we don't track it,
No, I don't want them to have.
Yeah.
to-
you know.
Yeah.
I mean, we could go into all that, but I mean, if we don't track it anyway, outside of I don't know.
And there's probably no real reason for putting this in, but it is something that somebody could let their license expire and then try to do something, and then it get
and come up for voting.
That's another level.
Yeah, I was going to say it's going to be what it sounds like. It's really going to determine like a similar situation we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Whether they can vote on issues and whether they could run for a board of directors position.
Right.
Or operate on field day
Yeah.
with an expired license.
Well, you can operate on field day because you're operating under the club call sign.
Even with an expired license?
Yeah.
Or with no
Oh.
license.
With
Yeah.
No license.
You just
Oh,
have to
I
be
thought that was just,
supervised.
All unlicensed.
I thought that was just that one station. Very interesting. Okay, now I know.
As long as the club is as long as the trustee is allowing that to occur.
Or a special event station like W4M. Okay. All right.
I mean, it has to be supervised, but they would be operating. Or technically, they have to be supervised.
Well, yeah. What if they were? But
The only other thing I could think of if we wanted to mention was maybe something if there needed to be like, if the board of directors needed to do something or questions could be referred to the board or something, or the secretary or something. But other than
Let's leave
that,
it
I think
alone.
we could go with what we've got.
No, I don't.
I'd say go with what we've got because we
I don't
already
wanna add more
announced.
work for anybody, but I just want to have it as a,
Yeah, I mean, that's,
as
I
a
think that gets
resource.
the point across.
Yeah. All right, so back up here. So now that that's done, just one more time, on the non-licensed individual annual member, non-licensed membership is available to anyone interested in amateur radio communications and who does not hold a valid amateur radio license as specified in section 3.2.1. Non-licensed members may not vote or serve on the board of directors. Non-licensed members may serve on committees. So are we,
Okay.
Good for that.
all right.
Sounds good.
All right, so family, well, let me see. Family annual membership. Anyone meeting the conditions of individual membership or non-licensed individual membership and who shall reside at the same address as an existing individual annual member in good standing of the DARC.
And you were gonna add or life member.
Okay.
Well, it has to be an individual annual member to be a family annual membership.
That's true, because we do have individual
have a
life and
non-
family life, so.
Non-licensed.
Okay, all right.
At
That
least
takes-
one
yeah,
member
that takes care
of the household shall be an individual annual member of the DARC in order for any other member of the same household to apply for family annual membership. Licensed family members shall have the same status as individual annual members, and unlicensed family members shall have the same status as non-licensed annual members.
Looks
Sound
good.
good?
All right. Individual life member. This type of membership is no longer available, but those who were classified as such are entitled to all the privileges of individual annual members.
Good.
And I'm
Yep.
going to read through all of them. Family life member. This type of membership is no longer available, but those who were classified are as such are entitled to all the privileges of family annual members. Non-licensed life member. This type of membership is no longer available, but those who were classified as such are entitled to all the privileges of non-licensed individual annual members. Honorary life member. Any person may be granted an honorary membership in the DARC by a majority affirmative vote of the membership present at any regular DARC meeting.
I got a question.
What is the status of the
Yeah.
honorary life member?
Yes.
Right.
Are they voting or non-voting?
Have we had one of these before?
No.
Do we, if we don't have any, do we want to leave this in here?
Yeah.
Well,
the-
I
the
mean, you
only
never
reason
know.
somebody might have given since there is not a life membership anymore, if somebody has given extraordinary support to the club for a number of years, you might want to bestow that upon somebody.
So do we just want to say like we do for individual life member,
Yeah.
those who are classified as such are entitled as, I don't know.
Well, but I guess the question is, can it be left up to the board of directors as to whether it's a voting status or non-voting status?
It's probably a good idea because I mean, if they're honorary life members, you would think that they have pretty good character to begin with.
Right.
I had a question too about the life membership. If the main if the main life member becomes a silent key, what happens to the family life memberships? I mean, it's kind of rude if your dad becomes a silent key, you get kicked out of the club. It's kind of a double whammy, you know.
Well, generally by that time, the child has moved out of the house anyway.
Okay. What if they were in a car crash or something?
Well,
Or if your dad's licensed and moves back in with you. You know, we're getting a little
Yeah,
overcomplicated
no, I
here.
know.
I
It
think
was just a question. I just wondered how long the life memberships lasted. I didn't know what
Like
they were.
five generations.
life membership has lasted into eternity.
Okay, okay,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah, I would think, I mean, my understanding would be if somebody was classified at all as a life member at any point, that it would stick with them indefinitely. I mean, I don't think it doesn't, I mean, we're not losing a whole lot of money, and I know it's not like we're issuing any more anyway, so.
That's the good point on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think that's a good way to resolve it.
I mean, and we could always put a clause, like if we wanted down here at change of status, we could add in a clause.
Let's just leave it.
Leave it, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Like you said,
Well,
for the $20-something a year or whatever, that's, I don't want to stir that up.
Okay.
well, I did just go in. Would we be okay adding this sentence in? Those who were classified as such under honorary life are entitled to all the privileges of individual annual members. Would y'all be okay with that?
I would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Because like
I said,
you, I would think if they're honorary life, then
because the way I see it now is since you can't get since you can't buy yourself into a life membership, we could feel that somebody's earned it enough that we could give it to them. And if you gave it to them but took away their voting rights, boy, that's a kick.
yeah.
If you're an honorary life member, then can your family members also be life members?
I'd say no.
Let's see.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
what if
It doesn't really, well,
what if
Which
we
is-
said honorary individual life member? Does that help?
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the statement does say
Well, it
all
says any
privileges of the
person. It doesn't
individual.
say any
annual
family.
members.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah, that's a good
okay.
point.
Yeah.
okay, yeah, you just added that. That's good.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
And Mary Jean, for this section, we don't have to go into this right now, but some of the headings, some say member, some say membership. I don't know if we want to make that consistent through all of them.
Actually, yeah.
I don't know which more of them say member, so that's probably the easiest to fall back to.
All right. Good. Good catch.
Yeah.
All right. So close, y'all. Voting classifications. There shall be 2 classifications of voting rights consisting of voting member, all members who pay their annual dues at the rate recommended by the board and approved by the membership, and hold a current valid amateur radio operator's license issued by the FCC and are either individual, family, individual life, or family life, shall have 1 vote each in all matters.
Joe, this answers your question about the honorary members, because the next one actually lists honorary life as non-voting.
Yeah, I saw that.
There we go.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, do we want to change it and just move them up? Because that's a good point. If we,
Yeah, let's just move it up.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, if we're gonna honor somebody with being a life member, we're not going to take away the right to vote.
Yeah.
And heck, since we've never had one, and there's a couple of hundred of us, I think we could overrule them, whatever they want to do.
And it's kind of addressed in the membership classifications, but we might want to say non-licensed individual annual members and non-licensed family annual members. Because you can have a non-licensed family member per the classifications up there.
All right, so say again.
Just add where it says non-licensed individual annual members, also say, and
Oh,
non-licensed family annual members.
well,
Or do
what
we
about
need
if
to
we
say
said family annual members who are
not holding?
not, who do not hold a valid license?
Yeah, we do have at least one of those.
Okay, so voting members, all members who pay their annual dues at the rate recommended by the board and approved by the membership and hold a current valid amateur radio operator's license issued by the FCC and are either, that's very long. All members.
Do we need to include that or reciprocal?
I was thinking we do. Yeah.
And just to simplify this, since we already lay all that out in the membership classifications, do we just want to list voting members and then list the classifications that are allowed to vote and then do the same thing for non-voting? Because we already specify that they have to have a license, that their dues have to be paid.
So you think maybe like get rid of, make sure it's classified, like specified in like these, and then get rid of this?
Yeah,
No,
Uh,
well, I don't really object to that. My suggestion was to essentially take like 331 voting member and then put wording in there that just references the classifications that are allowed to vote. So essentially just the very last bit. All members who are individual life, family life, or honorary life members shall have one vote each. And then non-voting could probably stay as it is because it's already really short and to the point.
All right.
But the voting members part kind of repeats everything in the classifications again. What do y'all think?
as long as it's specific. Because if somebody's just looking up, let's see, what are the voting classifications? They go there. As long as they're directed to exactly the place that will give them all the verbiage about that. Not assuming that they would have read through the whole document. They were just looking at that one bullet point.
let them read the whole thing.
Ha,
All right. All members who pay their annual dues at the rate. And then, all right, so you're saying,
yeah, that makes sense.
would that
Um,
work?
Yeah, I thought it might make it a little simpler to read because people looking at that for voting members would understand that their membership has to be classified as one of those.
Okay.
Because there's no voting members outside of a class of one of those classifications, right? And then everybody else is basically a non-voting member, not a member.
Yeah. Right. Okay. All right.
Y'all are wondering, I'm not trying to keep my head from exploding. I've got a light that's in my eyes here, but I'm trying so that y'all can see me a little bit, but I can see the screen that I'm looking at. I looked up there and it looks like I'm trying to keep my head from exploding.
I know some people that say they're having to read a contract, they'll split their head anyway.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, it's, very, I mean, we're sitting here thinking of possibilities that could happen that may never, ever happen. So, and
Yeah.
then wording and,
Well, I just a couple of months ago, I went through some of this with some family stuff, and yeah, some lawyers can get your head to spinning.
Oh, that's for sure.
all right. So since we made a few changes, to read it again, voting member, all members who pay their annual dues at the rate recommended by the board and approved by the membership and hold a current valid amateur radio operator license as specified in section 3.2.1. Individual, family, individual life, family life, or honorary life shall have one vote each in all matters. Non-voting member, all members not holding a valid amateur radio operator's license, is it apostrophe S or is it just operator license?
I just leave it at operator license.
This will generally be, but is not limited to, non-licensed individual annual members and family annual members who do not hold a valid amateur radio operator license. And then I'm going to copy this as specified. All right, so I think I'm it.
You keep hitting ignore.
Yeah.
Well,
It's because of the,
'cause it's
Oh.
license, yeah.
it was selecting the grammar check versus,
All right, so do those work for us?
Yep.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, because we've got, yeah. Okay, membership dues. Membership dues in an amount determined by the board of directors and approved by a majority of the voting membership present at the next regular membership meeting shall be assessed annually and are payable during the renewal period of January 1 through March 1. Honorary life members shall be exempt from payment of dark dues.
Okay.
I was going to ask about this. So we have this, but I mean, we frequently accept payment and applications and everything throughout the year. Do we want to just still leave it as this, or do we want to put any exemptions in for the
I
rest
just
of the
leave
year?
it. I mean, we'll take their full annual dues in November.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. All right. 3.4.2, prorating of dues. Dues for the new members that have not been a member during the preceding 3 years shall be prorated from the date of application based on a quarterly basis according to the following schedule. All right.
No problem with that.
Non-payment of dues. Non-payment of dark annual membership dues shall be cause for loss of club membership and all associated privileges until said payments are brought up to date in accordance with these bylaws. Members removed for non-payment of dues shall be reinstated to their previous membership status upon full payment of all applicable dues for the current fiscal year.
Yep.
good.
Expulsion for membership.
Oh, Lordy. We'll go get a beer.
Expulsion of a member. Any member who willfully and knowingly violates any of the DARC's practices and procedures and or violates the FCC rules, Part 97, which results in suspension or revocation of that member's FCC license or results in a finally adjudicated monetary forfeiture to the U.S. government shall be liable for expulsion from the DARK. After final adjudication and completion of expulsion proceedings, any member, officer, or appointee shall be removed from the membership rolls of the DARK. Upon expulsion from the DARK, any member, officer, or appointee shall immediately turn over all records, assets, equipment, and information belonging to or necessary for the continuing activities of the DARK. Once a member is expelled, readmittance to the DARK membership shall only occur upon a unanimous affirmative vote of the entire board of directors of the DARK. All right, y'all. I mean, I think it
Yeah,
I
pretty
think
well
it covers
covers
it fine.
yeah, it does. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Process of expulsion. The board shall determine if there is sufficient evidence and if the infraction rises to the level that necessitates expulsion from the DARK. These matters shall be handled on a case-by-case basis and by simple majority vote of the board.
Yep.
If the board votes to expel, the accused member must be notified of the accusation of misconduct by certified mail, return receipt requested. Once the board has made its report to the DARK members, the accused member may make a rebuttal of the accusation against them. If the accused member does not present a rebuttal within 90 days of the report of the board, to the board to the DARK, the accused member's membership shall be terminated. When the
I'd
accused
say 60 days.
Yeah, I mean,
60.
Why do we want to keep them around for another 90 days?
yeah, it could cause all kinds of problems.
Sounds good.
Shouldn't they be kind of, I don't know, is there also maybe provision for a suspension process? I mean, if there's a real major problem, they could hang around and cause problems for that length of time. It might be an extreme case, but you never know if that would happen.
I don't know. I mean, I see what you're getting at with the suspension, but I would think if it got that bad to where it would be a suspension, then we'd
We'd be asking a police officer to
Yeah,
hang out at the front door
I
of
already
our
brought
meeting.
that up. I already brought that up.
Well, that or we would have a,
A restraining order.
yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
We'd have a special session of the board meeting to do something immediately, so.
Okay, all right.
All right, go back up to I hate to go this far back, but go back up to the reasons for expulsion. Does that cover who willfully knowing violates any of the practices,
And procedures.
violates the rules?
And if they say, well, what's the policy and procedures of Delta Club? We can say it's the same as the FCC's good engineering practices.
Well, I mean, that's actually what I was getting at. We're focusing more, as much or more on the FCC rules as we are anything else.
About good conduct.
I mean, well, I not that, but I mean, I hate to think of it, but theft or some sort of vandalism or something. I mean, I'm just trying to think. Are we covering ourselves after what we've been through? Are we covering ourselves enough here?
I think the statement knowingly violates any of the DARK's practices and procedures covers it fairly well.
For those.
Well,
Because
you
that
know,
could be,
they'll say, what are the practices and procedures? It's what's normal, good operating ham radio practices. And the FCC, if you want to argue, FCC can fine a person for, engineering, with, notwithstanding good engineering principles or practices, and, they're not defined by FCC.
Yeah.
If y'all are okay with it, it just seemed like to me we're focusing a lot more on the FCC, much more on the FCC rules and not protecting ourselves. And I don't know.
Yeah. No, I understand.
But then you start getting into character type issues, then
Yeah.
you do open up a
You
huge can
can't,
of worms.
yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that.
It says, we've got our practices and procedures, so.
Do we want to, I'm just thinking out loud here. Do we want to put something in there where, I mean, what if we had half the membership come to us and say, man, we just don't think this guy fits in with the club. Do we want to have something like that?
Yeesh.
I mean, just something where somebody does something to the point where, we've got a large part of the membership that comes to the board and says, hey man, y'all got to review his membership. This just isn't working.
Yeah, but what could that be though? Are we talking about someone with a bad attitude, or that's kind of, I guess, a fine line.
I know.
I think it has to be reviewed on a case by case basis. And maybe we can say something like that.
I'm actually looking out more for we're not giving the members that avenue to do something like that if something came up where enough of the membership felt that it needed to be done.
Yeah, I think we should include that. Do
you have a case in point, Steve?
No,
Okay.
No, really don't. But I mean, that's what this whole thing is about. Is we've got to, think of things that haven't happened.
So you're thinking of things that wouldn't be resolved by police intervention. That hasn't gone that far.
Hasn't gone, something that hasn't gone quite that far, but something where
it's just almost splitting the club in two.
So it's almost like you got a second bullet point. So, you got the FCC stuff, and then you've got, maybe conduct or, something.
I'm not going to call this up tonight. So that might be something to sleep on for a while. But
yeah,
do we want to give the members? And seriously, I think I'm wanting to do that more for that. I mean, as much as we've had cases, and what happened before, we had a lot of members come to us saying that they wanted us to change our decision of not accepting a membership. Do we want to, at the same token, give the members an avenue where if they just said, look, this just,
the board should have already come to that conclusion.
But where do we have that?
Well, so what if we just put in a clause, because ultimately it looks like the process, the board would have to determine if there's sufficient evidence. So what if we just put in something that said, if there's any other areas of concern,
or
it should be brought to the board during a board of directors meeting or something like that. The concerns should be brought forward.
To be addressed by the board of directors meeting. Grievances about specific members.
I mean,
yeah, I mean, at that point though, if we define it, we're going to have to actually define it.
That's
I mean,
right.
over the
That's right. That's right.
I mean, like over the years, I mean, we've had some people wanting to get their license because of survivalist type stuff or something. I mean, we had somebody that comes in and wants to kind of just take over the meeting for that type of situation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that I'm trying to think of an example, and that's something that comes to mind.
Mm, mm, mm.
I mean, somebody that we feel for the sec, not to the point where we felt like we could call the police, but somebody that just hijacks the meeting for some political or other reason.
Something that's not in the best interest of the club.
You broke up a little bit there. What?
Something that's not in the best interest of the club.
Right. You know, not and that could actually be that it goes against the, you know,
Just
what's
good.
outlined in the purpose, you know.
Yeah, good amateur practice. Yeah, you're right. Which is back to part 97.
So the ARRL actually defines the radio amateurs code, which is, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it goes through considerate, loyal, progressive, friendly, balanced, patriotic. So we could reference that.
That's a good, yeah, that's great. Yes.
Hey man, you're the
That is
man.
What,
There we go.
okay, so any member, what's the specific title up? Well, hold on.
So they have a website for it.
Affiliated with the ARRL. Well, maybe what we could do is down in, because we said, you know, FCC rule, FCC or
Yeah, yeah, I like that.
What's it called? The ARRL?
The amateurs code.
I don't know that I would even reference that. We would just say the principles and values of
of our
ARRL.
affiliates.
Well, and something else though, with it being the
thing about the
I guess we
FCC
could, 'cause we are ARRL affiliated, so I guess we could. Because I was just wondering if they're not ARRL members, but if we are,
but
We
the
are,
club is affiliated with
Mm.
so you're
ARRL.
saying maybe just do the ARRL instead of amateurs code.
Yeah, I don't want to say, because let's not say the code, because I mean they could, you know, heck, they could do what they could change the name of the code, and somebody say, well, show me the code. Well, oh, shoot, we're screwed.
Gotcha.
But I would just say violates any of the DARC's practices and procedures, ARRL's principles and values, and the rules of the FCC.
I like that.
Well, but the only thing is that it seems like this is all tacked into the FCC. So should we maybe split it into two sentences
Yeah,
and say like the DARC's or ARL's practices and procedures, and then do some kind of transition to say the FCC. something.
Yeah, and that actually puts more emphasis on
The FCC.
yeah, yeah. I'm okay. Yeah, that's okay. I just wanted to put something in there about where we're a little covered
Yeah.
on. I didn't want to start laying out specifically character values, but I wanted to have something to fall back on if we needed it. I don't think you want to say make remember maybe. I think it shall be.
Well, who?
That's good.
Any member who can appoint-
Okay. That was good. Thanks, Ian. That was good finding that code thing. That I'll look at that.
Yeah.
I'm sure that probably covers what I was from what you were saying. That
That's really good.
whatever they've got, I'm sure it's been through 12 different lawyers. So
Well, I mean, it says it's adapted from also the original amateurs code written like in 1928. So I know I'm sure they summarized pieces
Yeah.
of it, but it's
It's pretty
broad
much-
enough, but
yeah.
specific enough.
Shouldn't it be
It's
dark
like
policies and
outlaw.
procedures and ARRLs, whatever? Because
A code?
or policies, ARRLs.
I like policies better than practices, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Any member who willfully know. Okay, I guess I'll read it out loud. Any member who willfully and knowingly violates any of the DARC's or ARRL's policies and procedures shall be liable for expulsion from the DARC. A member shall also be subject for expulsion from the DARC for willingly and knowingly violating the FCC rules, Part 97, which results in suspension or revocation of that member's FCC license or results in a finally adjudicated monetary forfeiture to the U.S. government.
I would say willfully instead of willingly.
Yes, that's what I meant to say. Thank you for catching that. LL.
Willingly.
Oh, goodness. Well,
Getting a little slap happy here, but yeah, that was funny. Yeah.
all right. Okay, are we good with that
Yes.
then for now?
So is that the only grounds then, I guess, for us to get rid of the member then?
Yeah, I mean that's what I was kind of pointing out before. Are we comfortable that this covers enough? But I think with what we added with the ARL, we're okay.
What are DARC's policies and procedures?
You're looking.
Do we have a,
You're looking at them.
So like the purpose,
Yeah.
you know, talking about
I was gonna
encouraging,
say, yeah, that's what I was. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah.
promoting, and you know,
If they go against our purpose of being a club, if somebody comes in and wants to undo some of that, then they're going against our purpose.
so the only other thing I would think of, and this may be what you're getting at, Steve, and it may not be, oh, here we go, is, I mean, because that does, like, the board of directors, the way it's written would be the only way that a member could be removed. Would we want to put in the option that a member could be removed with like 2/3 of the vote of the
No.
membership body or
No.
something?
No, I don't want to go by vote, but I wanted the members to, but you know, we might want to say that the members can come to the board with a recommendation for expulsion, but no, we still want to have, the, I'm sorry, Joe, what?
They can do that anyway.
Yeah, I mean, but do we want to lay that out to make it clear?
I wouldn't.
Okay. I mean, that goes back to the fact that if they want us to, if there's a situation they felt we needed to, where, enough of the members felt we needed to do that and we didn't do it, then we're not doing our job. So yeah,
They'd vote us
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
you would think.
Well, and I guess I mean, they could technically go and I think it's down here. So I mean, we're removal from office. So I guess they could.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's ways that we can be removed. Yeah,
So
where it needs to be.
if we don't do what they
Yeah.
want.
Oh, okay.
All right. All right. So if we're good with that one. All right. So process of expulsion, the board shall determine if there is sufficient evidence and if the infraction rises to the level that necessitates expulsion from the dark. These matters shall be handled on a case-by-case basis and by simple majority vote of the board.
I think that's good.
If the board votes to expel, the accused member must be notified of the accusation of misconduct by certified mail, return receipt requested.
Do we want to include the time frame like we did for denial of an application?
I wouldn't.
Okay.
Mm.
Well, yeah, because I would think that if they're getting rid of a member, then they're going to want to notify them to remove them from the roles and everything as quickly as possible. But once the board has made its report to the dark members, the accused member may make a rebuttal of the accusation against them. If the accused member does not present a rebuttal within 60 days of the report of the board to the dark, the accused member's membership shall be terminated.
No problem.
When the accused member has finished making their rebuttal, the members of the dark, by a 2/3 majority vote of the quorum, may adopt the recommendation of the board. Oh, well, so it is in there anyway.
Mhm.
If the board's recommendations are not adopted, the accusation or accusations of misconduct, would y'all be okay if we just did the parentheses S thing here
Yeah.
to simplify it? Of misconduct made against the accused member shall be declared null and void.
But what are we expecting from the rebuttal? Is that going to be an in-person rebuttal or would that be in written format?
I mean, this sounds like it leaves it open to either way.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, I would leave that open. I mean, just either one would be good, but I don't know that I want to specify one or the other.
Right. Well, I mean, we've asked, so at this point, have we asked them not to come to meetings? Or are they still a member in good standing?
I think that's on a case-by-case basis.
well, so, I mean, the accused member's membership shall be terminated. I mean, I would guess so it'd probably come out to one of the things where, I mean, if it was that kind of a situation, you'd probably have to get the police involved if they kept coming around anyway.
Yeah, I was
If
gonna
they
say
were
we.
kicked out, and if I mean, you'd have documentation at that point of
Yeah.
their actions and everything. So,
Yeah, because we don't have any verbiage in
That's why I
here
was
about
wondering,
barring from meetings or anything.
yeah, so that's
Yeah,
I guess my point is, would we not want the rebuttal to be in written format so that they're not coming to the meeting or something like that?
I don't know. I mean, I think it should be left open because, like, if you, in theory, so here's the thing: even if they come in person, the secretary, if it's an in-person meeting, the secretary is recording the meeting, and then if it's virtual, then it's recorded anyway. So, like,
Yeah.
the meetings are recorded. So even if they did come, I mean, you'd have the conflict of them being there, but then it'd be open more for discussion and questions.
And believe me, if it's a problem,
Yeah.
the situation they put themselves in, that they can redeem themselves in person, or they can definitely shoot themselves in the foot. So,
Yeah,
yeah, that's for sure.
okay.
All right. Let's go back to all right, the 5.5, when the accused member has finished making his rebuttal, the members of the by 2/3 majority vote, quorum may adopt All right, so we make a recommendation after the rebuttal, we make a recommendation and then the board, then the other members vote on our recommendation?
That's what
Yes.
it looks like.
Doesn't
So
that come
board
through
vote-
the meeting minutes though?
So in that case, we need to say if the board votes to recommend to expel.
Bullshit, yeah.
Because if they are voting and we're recommending, then if the board votes to recommend expulsion or,
Yeah.
What would you say recommend to expel?
yeah, either one, expulsion or to expel. What do y'all think? Well, to expel, I guess. All right, if the board votes to recommend to expel, the accused member must be notified of the accusation of misconduct by certified mail. Return receipt requested. Once the board has made its report to the dark members, its report, well, should we make report recommendation right here in 354?
Well, we would also maybe I would say report, because we're not just going to be telling them
Good point. Okay.
what we think. We would be reporting like why,
Right,
reasons
right.
why.
I
And
think it's good.
Good point.
so it does say if they don't make a rebuttal, then their membership is just gone. It's only if they decide to contest the recommendation that it goes to the membership.
Well, y'all, I didn't think this last
So would
section
this
would
be
take an
part-
hour and a half.
But would this discussion, would this be a specially called board meeting or would this be normal board meeting? Because I'm just trying to understand how the communication to the membership is going to occur.
Well, so down here, and I mean, we have our regular board meetings where we typically cover things. And I mean, we can do, if y'all want to keep going, we can. I vote that we end it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I
But
agree.
read through, and I'll send out a copy of this where it stands as soon as we get off here. But if you read through the next section, Board of Directors, it goes into the meetings. I think there's a section where we can call
Special meeting.
special meetings if needed and things like that. So I mean, it kind of lists all that in the next section. And I would think
My ultimate question,
since we're still not done, I would think if we think on this and whenever we come back to work on it again, that we can always pick it up and go back and make any changes. So,
my only thought is, are we going to deviate from our normal mode of operation, which is to have the board meeting and then we take minutes of the board meeting and then we report that through Sparks. And then when we open the meeting, then we have a vote to accept the meeting minutes as they're written, right? So would that be the process then for this vote to expel? Or would we expect there to be a special meeting or a special communication or something like that? And I guess we need to think through that. I'm not saying we answer that tonight, but I would just like to understand that process.
So right here, 4.6.3. Well, I'll read it. In cases where the Board of Directors is to discuss matters specified in Article 4, Section 11, removal from office, or Article 3, Section 5, expulsion from membership, the chairman shall have the authority to close at their discretion such meeting to anyone not a member of the Board of Directors for the duration of such discussion. This authority is given to the chairman to allow for the protection of confidentiality and privacy of the dark members involved. So, I don't know. I mean,
But it really still doesn't say how it's communicated.
I I would say for now, let's leave it. And then if anything, think on it. And the
Yeah.
next time when we start going through the board, we can always come back and
Okay, I'm okay with that.
so. An officer or trustee must first be removed from his or her office before an expulsion proceeding can commence. And then after final adjudication and completion of expulsion proceedings, any member, officer, or appointee shall be removed from the membership rolls of the DARC. Upon expulsion from the DARC, any member, officer, or appointee shall immediately turn over all records, assets, equipment, and information belonging to or necessary for the continuing activities of the DARC. Once a member is expelled, readmittance to the DARC membership shall only occur upon a unanimous affirmative vote of the entire board of directors of the DARC.
That's fine.
I like it if it works for
Yeah.
y'all,
Yeah,
it's good.
I'm
I
good
think
with it.
that's great.
because it gives them an option, but then it's also got to be unanimous, which, you know.
Yep.
Right. Oh, goodness, y'all.
And I was a little hung up about that 2/3 majority of the members, but at that point, we've kind of hashed it over quite a bit. We, you would think that we would feel pretty confident that we've looked at everything, and we feel that we're representing the members. But if we've overlooked something, then that gives them one last chance,
Yeah, and don't forget too that this is, and I think it was maybe, Joe who pointed this out earlier, this is expulsion. So at this point, within this year, or not necessarily this year, but in theory, within that year of that issue, the board of directors would have voted to approve that membership form. So,
Right.
I mean, in theory, if it's something that's a concern anyway, then, they may have called it on the front end. In theory, another option is that, that goes one calendar year and they all have to reapply anyway. So, I mean, I know there's a lot of checks and balances built into
Yeah,
this,
That's fine. Yeah, that's right.
but I don't know. I mean, if we need to clarify anything, then,
Yeah, does this apply to life members too?
Any member,
Yeah.
it even
Any
includes
member.
officers, they just have to have been removed from their office first.
Yeah. And the officer thing, I think they go into it down here, I believe,
Yeah, it does.
talking about removal
okay.
and then it would be
Okay.
subject to whatever. So,
I have a question about the minutes of this meeting. Would these go into Sparks, like our regular BOD meetings?
I think it's just a comment saying we had an ad hoc meeting concerning review of the
Yeah.
of-
And then
Bylaws.
the attendees?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, don't go into any detail.
Yeah, that could be,
No, I haven't been keeping detailed notes, so.
you might want to just put a sentence in the board of directors meeting, your normal board of directors
That's
meeting.
what I
to
was gonna
say
say.
that
I wouldn't even make it a separate item. Just put this.
Yeah.
This is just an extension of the board meeting.
Okay, all right.
yeah, because at the end of the day, I mean, we're going to be presenting all of these changes to the club to vote on.
Right.
Way. So, I mean, they're going to get to see and have, we have to publish them and have so many readings and all that. So, I mean, they're going to have and be able to, if they do the legwork, they can look and see what was there and then what we've got now. So,
Yep,
Okay.
absolutely.
and
Well,
I'm, if they're involved as some are, I mean, hopefully they would come to us if they have any questions or concerns, suggestions,
That's for sure.
I would think.
Yeah, oh yeah, I would think so. All right, I think we have made great progress. Mary Jean, you've done a great job.
Really
I
has.
think this is working out great where we're doing it in this format too, where we can see the changes that are being done. And do we want to plan on, next month, same type thing? I guess doing it third.
We don't have a fifth Tuesday in April, I don't think.
That's what I can say. Will we do it the third week or?
I would certainly prefer to do it earlier than later because my sister is due at the end of, well, the 24th of April. So, I mean, the good thing about this is that I can always have it on a laptop or something and take it with me if that happens. But I don't know. So, I mean, I'd certainly prefer to do it earlier than later than wait till kind of that middle, late part of the month. But I mean,
Yeah.
if that's when everybody's available, then I'll make it work.
Well, I mean, the sixth is next week, and that's the board meeting. And we got the normal meeting on the 13th, and then the 20th. We could do it the 20th. Why don't we, everybody look at that, and at the board meeting next week, if everybody can make that work, let's try that and keep the momentum going.
Can we put it to a Thursday? Because I have every Tuesday tied up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, let's look at that. Yeah. I like I've said at the beginning of this one, if maybe not everybody was on, I may not be able to make the board meeting. I may not even be able to listen in or anything. Next week, Mary Jean's going to probably lead it. If everybody just kind of look at their schedule, I'm pretty free, except for next Tuesday, which is something that just came up. Y'all just work out what works best, and let's try to keep it going next month. Anybody have anything else for tonight?
I will, I'll email it. I'm going to finish
Yeah.
confirming these changes up top, but I'll email this once we get off here.
Okay.
So.
All right. And I think because I'm not going to probably be able to make the meeting next week for the board meeting, Joe, he has a license for Zoom so that he can send out an invite and start up the meeting, and we'll just do it that way. So look for one from Joe for the board
Will you
meeting.
be doing the president's corner?
I'll still do that. Yeah. I just got to miss that meeting next Tuesday. Yeah.
Okay.
I can still do that. I got another meeting that's come up that's a great thing with something else that I didn't have any control over it, but I need to try to go to that. And that should just be a one-time thing. It's not going to continue to be an issue. All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I know it's taken a while, but I think we should be able to knock this thing out in one or two more sessions. And I think it'd be a good thing to accomplish while we're in this format where we can do it online and everything else. So, all right. You think anybody got anything else? All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Good job.